Hello, and welcome back to Unhelpful Yoda. Today we're going to talk about Yakuza and Smash Brothers. Yakuza is a pretty big series for Sega, and Sega's been heavily on board with Smash Ultimate, so I thought what Sega characters could make it into Smash as the final DLC. A lot of people have been pointing out that the new Shin Megami Tensei character could be it, because it's the late release game coming out around the same time that we would expect to get the next DLC character, and that makes sense. We'll talk about that more at the end on why I don't think we'll get a Yakuza character. But for some fun, why would we get Yakuza in Smash Brothers? Okay, so let's start with Sega content already in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We have Sonic and Bayonetta in base game as playable characters. We have Green Hill Zone returning from Brawl. We have Windy Hill Zone returning from, I believe, 3DS, Smash for 3DS, but it's for Smash 4. And we have Umble Clock Tower also returning from Smash 4. Shadow returned as an assist trophy. We also gained Knuckles as an assist trophy and Rodane as an assist trophy, along with Akira Yuki from Virtual Fighter as an assist trophy. We have Akira and Jackie Bryant as Mii costumes, and that's all base game. That's all stuff that we got with the launch of Smash Ultimate. As DLC, we got Joker from Persona 5, which is made by Atlus, but Atlus is owned by Sega, so same thing. Obviously, that came with a stage, spirits, and everything. So we've gotten quite a bit of Sega content in Smash already, but most notably, they have the most, or they're tied for the most playable characters in the game for a third party, with Konami, Capcom, and Square Enix. However, Konami and Capcom have 2 characters and then a Echo Fighter. In Square Enix's case, they have 3 fighters, but 2 of them are from the same game. Sega's kind of differentiates itself from that in that all 3 characters are from completely different games. Sonic from Sonic, Bayonetta from Bayonetta, and Joker from Persona. So they're kind of completely unrelated to each other. Next, let's talk about who makes the Yakuza games and why that's important. Ryuga Gotoku Studio, like a Dragon Studio, they make the Yakuza series. They have completely. I think they've gained their name in 2012, but they've been making the Yakuza series since its development. That's one of Sega's other major studios. If you look at Sega's main studios, they have Team Sonic, they have Atlus as a subsidiary with the same idea, and we have the Yakuza Like a Dragon Studios. We have this studio. They make Yakuza, they've made Judgment, the Fist of the North Star game, along with Virtua Fighter 5. They made it before they gained this name and this whole thing, but they did recently re-release it as Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown this year. They also make Super Monkey Ball. They made the Banana Blitz HD, and they're working on Banana Mania now. So they do quite a bit of work for Sega. Like they produce some of their better selling games. And while Yakuza for a while was kind of going downhill with the release of the Dead Souls game on the PS3, I know that kind of hurt them in the US, and for a while we didn't get a physical release of Yakuza 5, I think it is, until the PS4 remaster. But they still produce one of Sega's major series. If you look at their major series, their most consistently released series, you have Sonic. I guess you could say Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, although those take forever to come out. So while they are relevant and some of their bigger and biggest series, those take a while. And we have Yakuza, which gets a release almost every year. Going back to 2012, they released the HD collection on the Wii U, in Japan only, but still, and Yakuza 5 on the PS3, and then it took them a while. It took them 3 years, but they released Yakuza 0 on the PS3 and 4. We have that. Obviously, we got that one. But then the next year, immediately after 0, we got Kiwami and 6, the Song of Life. And then the year after that, we got Kiwami 2. The year after that, we got Fist of the North Star and 3 remastered and Judgment. And then a year after that, we got 4 and 5 remastered. And then a year after that, we got Like a Dragon. And then this year, we're getting where we got Judgment Remastered, Virtual Fighter 5, Lost Judgment coming later this year, and Super Monkey Ball coming later this year. So they are consistently putting out not just games in general, but Yakuza games. We get a Yakuza game, or in this case, Judgment and Lost Judgment being spin-offs, every year. It's one of their biggest series, and being one of the biggest supporters in Smash Ultimate, I feel like Sega might get another character for the second DLC. They got base game stuff, they got they got DLC in the first Fighters Pass, and this is the last fighter for this Fighters Pass. I could clearly see them getting another character. At least Sega, not necessarily Yakuza, but just Sega in general. I could see them getting a character. There's no reason to believe they wouldn't get a character, except for the fact that they have 3 characters already, and that's kind of a lot. But ever since Sega stopped making consoles, Sega and Nintendo have been incredibly close. In fact, and this is not really relevant, but kind of funny, the people who make Yakuza actually originally made F-Zero GX back on the GameCube. It's the same developer, just the name has changed. It was made by Amusement Vision, who later became... What is it? Amusement Vision later became... Or AM4 became Amusement Vision. And then after some structural changes, they became a new entertainment R&D department, and that's when they made the first Yakuza game. And then they began up until from Yakuza 3 onward, they were Sega's CS1 team all the way till Dead Souls, and then after Dead Souls and with the release of Binary Domain, they became RGG, which is their studio name now, and their logo's on everything, and they've become a really big developer for Sega. And after the release of Dead Souls, Yakuza kind of took a downward spiral for the US and Western releases, I guess, in general. But since then, it's been on a massive upswing with 0. I didn't play when 5 came out. That's a little before I started, a while before I started playing, but it's not that old of a game. But 0 was very popular. Kiwami 1 and 2 have been very popular. The remasters, Judgment, were all quite popular games. This is all big releases. But then just last year, when Like a Dragon came out, that game was huge. So I could very much see Sega trying to continue this push for Yakuza to be a bigger series. And obviously Smash does that. Smash is very well known for making series that aren't doing super well in like the rest of the world, but does really well in Japan, bigger everywhere else. They did it with Dragon Quest recently, introducing Hero as a DLC fighter, really pushing for was it Dragon Quest 11? It was 11 or 12. Anyway, the new Dragon Quest, kind of old now, it recently came out. They pushed that really heavy with marketing, and then they added Hero as a DLC character, and that game sold really well, not just on the Switch, but the PS4 versions obviously as well. Obviously the prime example is Fire Emblem, not even being released in the United States when it was added to Smash Brothers, and it's become one of Nintendo's bigger series. Obviously it's still quite a bit niche, it is a tactical RPG, but it's way bigger now and continues to do well for itself. And again, that's all because of Smash Brothers. So we all know that this is something Nintendo does, so that they can do it again. This is something maybe Sega's pushing for Yakuza to be bigger. There is the argument for Shin Megami to get it. as well. They have a crossover game on the Wii U with Fire Emblem, so there's an argument for that to be made as well. But it can kind of go either way. When Persona was added, despite Persona being a spin-off of Shin Megami, there's nothing from it in the game. Smash Ultimate has no Shin Megami Tensei content at all. It's all Persona. It doesn't even have the little Jack thing. I don't even know its name. I'm not that familiar with the series. But the little Jack thing, it doesn't even have that as like a spirit or something. So a lot of people are wondering if they got Persona 5, which isn't on Switch at all. I guess Strikers is, but it's not really on the Switch at all. And at the time, it wasn't at all. It's a PS5 or a PS4 only, or I guess 3, whatever. It's a Sony exclusive at this moment. But they didn't bring any Shin Megami Tensei content with it, which that has been much more present on the Nintendo platforms in general. So it's a little weird, and I can completely understand why people would think that maybe that's going to be the next DLC character, is the main character from the new game coming out in just a few months. And that makes sense. It's a character that would push for not only be part of a series that's long running, has a lot of history with Nintendo, and people would like to see, but also that is a new game, and Nintendo does like to end their DLC for Smash on relevant character, like super relevant characters. Bayonetta Bayonetta 2 had just come out. I don't think it had just come out or was about to come out, something like that. Same thing with Corrin for Smash 4. Anyway, and then in this case, Smash Ultimate's base game ended on Incineroar. Sun and Moon were not that old, and I think Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were just about to come out or had just come out. Like they also weren't that old, so that it was a relevant character. It was a new character. And then the first DLC ended on Fire Emblem. Three Houses was not that old. It was a very relevant game, and that's kind of how they like to end their stuff. And now we're doing it again. They could possibly end on. It could be something first party. We don't know, but it makes sense that they would want to end on something a little bit more relevant. However, Yakuza Like a Dragon just came out last year. It's completely possible that they put the main character in. It's completely possible that Ichiban is the main character that they add. Now, if I was to guess at a Yakuza character, I don't think it would be Ichiban. I think they'd go Kiryu. Kiryu makes the most sense to me. He's the main character of the first 6 games, plus and some random spin-offs and stuff. But maybe they really want to push. They want to push Yakuza, and maybe they want to really push the new. Maybe they're pushing Yakuza, and they really want to push the new character or the new series. Not really new series. It is a sequel to 6, I guess, but it's like a soft reboot. It kind of starts its own thing. So maybe they want to really push this Like a Dragon series that they're doing, and make that the new focus, and really push Ichiban as like the new character. This is a new series. Start playing this game. Also, the Like a Dragon 1 and 2 HD did come to the Wii U, and honestly, I see no reason why we couldn't get 0, Kiwami 1 and 2, the remasters of 3, 4, and 5. I see no reason why we couldn't get them on the Switch. I actually think it's kind of weird that we haven't gotten them on the Switch yet. I'm not completely sure about 6. Maybe we can't get 6 on the Switch, and that's kind of a hurdle. Same thing with Like a Dragon. Maybe it wouldn't run on the Switch. I don't really believe that. The games aren't like super complex. Obviously, graphically, it would have to be toned down quite a bit to make it work on the Switch, but I could see it working. So that's something there too. Like, there's no reason we couldn't get these games on the Switch, and they have been on Nintendo platforms before. Really just the one on the Wii U, but it's something. It's more than Joker's really been on the on a Nintendo platform at the point when he was added as DLC, so it's not like that's a hard rule or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like Yakuza is a really big series. It's really made a comeback since the PS3 days when it was like Sega was considering just dropping the series. I guess I don't know if they were going to cut the series completely, but it was really not looking good for the series after the release of Dead Souls, especially not over here, which just bombed completely. But since then, I know they skipped 5 as a physical release, but we got it as the remaster physically, and it's been just a really big series going forward. So I can perfectly see them really trying to give this game a push and really push the Like a Dragon and releasing Ichiban as a DLC character, or releasing Kiryu as a DLC character because that's their original character. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is how they could do this, like make Kiryu, or not Kiryu necessarily, but how they can make Yakuza get a character and it incorporate both the original 6 Yakuza games, the main ones, and also like promote the Like a Dragon continuation that's going on now, which is, to be fair, it is Yakuza 7 in Japan, but they're called Like a Dragon in Japan, so we got it as Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon. But this kind of separation between the two series, where this is like a continuation, but also sort of like a spin-off. It plays differently and has its own storyline it's following. So how could they make these both work in a way that promotes the entire series? I think they could do exactly what they did with Hero, to be honest. Just make Ichiban the main character that you get as the DLC. He's the first costume. Make Kiryu the second costume. And that way you get both characters, and it promotes the game, the newer games, heavily, because that's who's joining the game, like specifically. But you also get your Kiryu for fans of the series, since Ichiban only has the one game. This would, make it much bigger. We've seen this before. Like I said, we've seen it with Hero. We've also seen it with Bowser Jr., who has 8 different characters as one character. We've seen it with Olimar and Alf. So it's not something that they're opposed to doing. So that's one way to just really bring in the whole series. And the two characters don't play that differently from each other. Obviously, one is an action RPG and one is a turn-based RPG, but they don't play that differently from each other. So it's perfectly reasonable they could just be one character. There is also, and this is kind of a side note, but speculative, even more speculative than this is, but there is a placeholder page for an extra character in the DLC. It's probably nothing. I've heard Papagenos talk about it several times, and it's almost guaranteed to be nothing. I wouldn't expect anything. But maybe, just maybe, we get Ichiban and Kiryu as Echo. Yeah, they do Echo fighters for them, and they play slightly different. That'd be pretty cool too. That's just another way that they could do this, and it still works. It's not the most relevant or important thing, but it's an interesting thought. And lastly, I want to talk about why I think a Yakuza character just might not come. First and most relevantly, this is the final DLC character. There's a good chance they want to end on something huge, and why I think Yakuza would be something really big. It's very unexpected. I wouldn't get my hopes up, because it's quite a bit out there for a pick, but not so out there that it's impossible. Like, Sega's heavily on board, so a Sega character isn't exactly the most surprising thing. Not to say they have to end on a surprise. They could end on something very mundane. Like, it doesn't need to be necessarily a big character. The base game ended on a Pokemon. the first DLC ended on Fire Emblem. It doesn't need to be a massive, like, surprise character. In fact, outside of Steve and Sephiroth, I don't really think there's been a big surprise in his past. So, and even then, like, Steve has been rumored for years. It's Minecraft. It's one of the biggest game series of all time, or games of all time. So while it's surprising and it was exciting that he got in, at least for people who cared, it kind of felt expected, I guess. Like, Minecraft had to make it in eventually, right? Like, it's Minecraft. Sephiroth, it felt, I don't know, surprising because we already had Cloud. It's like they're going to do a second Final Fantasy rep while you do Final Fantasy VII again, but then Final Fantasy VII had almost no content in the game at base game, despite Cloud being a base game character. We got Cloud, a stage, and we got 2 pictures of Cloud, and what, like, 1 song or 2 songs? Like, the game had no content for it, so it's understandable. It was surprising, but it was understandable why they would bring in another Final Fantasy VII character. Yakuza is kind of out there. I don't know that it's really the kind of game that's popular with Nintendo fans, I guess. Obviously, some, Nintendo fans play other games too, or at least they should. But a lot of them don't. A lot of Nintendo fans, despite everyone knowing that they should, don't play other games. They play Nintendo games and nothing else. So they see, some human dude who punches people from Yakuza, and they're like, well, what the hell is this? It's nothing. It's not. Look at what happened when, fuck the guy's name from Tekken. Kazuma? Whatever. Anyway, the Tekken dude. Look what happened when he got announced. No one fucking cared. Everyone was complaining that was a Tekken rep. It's like, Bandai Namco make the game. Of course they're gonna get a new rep. Like, they deserve the new rep more than literally anybody else. They had Pac-Man as their only rep in the entire game. If any company deserved any third-party company deserved another rep, it was Bandai Namco. So I just don't know that it would be hype enough. So maybe they don't need a hype character, but if they want to end on something hype, I don't know that Yakuza would be the hype character. You could argue that SMT, I'm going to stop saying the name because I can't pronounce it for my life. SMT is a bigger series. You could argue, not bigger, but maybe, I guess maybe bigger. You could argue that it would be the more exciting rep to end the game on. More going for it, more move set potential, I guess. And that's fine. You could also argue that maybe they want to end on first party, really pushing a first party game that is getting released towards the end of the year, like something for Metroid or something. I don't even know what else is Nintendo. Pokemon, I guess. Like maybe Decidueye was not planned, but considered for base game. But he lost out to Incineroar. Decidueye is going to be back in Pokemon Legends as a starter Pokemon. Maybe they want to bring him back. Or we skipped a couple generations that, because of the way the game's released, we didn't get a Pokemon rep from a generation. Maybe they, release a Pokemon from Gen 3 that didn't get one, or Gen 5 that didn't get one. There's always those options. There's stuff like that, like Nintendo first party, big characters that obviously could get a rep. Maybe they end on Waluigi because this is technically a bonus character. If you listen to the original announcement, the DLC was 5 more characters. We've gotten those 5 characters. They added the final as a bonus spot. You could argue that the first one had Plant as the original DLC character, and Plant was supposed to be base game. Anyway, you could argue that that had 6 too with Plant, although it's not part of the pass. That they just wanted to mirror that, so they just added a bonus character. And it's not actually a bonus character; they just labeled it that way for the hype of it. And that's fine. That's completely possible and makes sense from a marketing standpoint. But technically, they announced this as a bonus character. Maybe it's someone like Waluigi. Some people they're asking for him so much that they made their DLC these 5, and they're like, we're gonna throw Waluigi at the end, and that's it. Maybe it's someone, I don't know, to... I don't know. Obviously, I have no idea who the final character is. But it could be anyone. I don't necessarily think that Yakuza is the standout or the most likely. But it was fun. It was fun to think about. Another big one, Square Enix is another series that's heavily involved in Smash, and technically only has 2 games wrapped, even though it has 3 characters. There's a good chance that their third major character, which would be Lara Croft for Tomb Raider, comes in. It's Tomb Raider's anniversary. You can make an argument for that. You can make an argument for Shin Megami Tensei to come in, SMT to come in, because that's getting a new game at the end of the year, and they want to keep it something that's relevant. You know, you get the new character in. You can make an argument for a Pokemon, or a number of other characters. There's so many characters that are likely for this game, you never know who they're going to pick. So, just enjoy, you know, whoever it is, it'll be fine, it's cool. That's just my opinion. I'm always excited to see who we get. But this was fun to talk about. I like Yakuza. I hope we get him, especially since my most wanted character, Shantae, is Mikashu. I am excited she's in the game, though, and, you know, we got a music track, so I'm happy. I don't really care who the last fighter is. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time with something. I don't know when this is going up, but I'll see you eventually with something.